All right, so we are back to Adeline's diary, and the year is 1930. I hope you enjoyed that brief little interlude to 1901 with Evelyn. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. That was the haunted diary. One weird thing did happen during one of the videos, but I mean, everything has an explanation, so yeah. We'll try again. Maybe we'll have a little seance for Evelyn, or maybe someone else. Maybe Adeline. I don't know. Who's with me on this? Should we do it? I have other diaries too. But anyway, we are back to Adeline. I have a couple little updates, exciting things to tell you. One is that I finally got a bigger SD card. They were not as expensive as I thought they were, so I shouldn't be running out of room anymore. The camera still stops at 20 minutes, so 20-minute break time still will occur. Don't know how to fix that, but I shouldn't get that ran out of space thing anymore. Shouldn't, keyword. I have definitely increased the memory size from 16 gigs to 128. So there we go. I fill that up and I am doing something wrong, or I'm just very busy. Second thing I want to share is the tea I'm drinking today was gifted to me by Jen of Tingle's Tea. It's from Canada, and let me see. Okay, I didn't write this down. It's all the things I love. So of course I said yes. It's organic and fair trade, and all the ingredients were handpicked by a physician. And part of the proceeds also go to help fund or found a low income clinic, and oh, something else. That's terrible. Well, you'll see me drinking this tea again. This will be like my story time tea now, because I do need to wet my whistle while I'm reading. So I got of the flavors available, I got organic lavender white tea and masala chai, and this is what I'm drinking now. And I should probably take that tea bag out of there. Oh, it's not a bag. It's loose tea, which is my new thing. I've kind of quit tea bags for the most part, and I'm just doing loose tea because I like doing things the old-fashioned way. So it's so weird. At my age, I'm just kind of learning how to make tea and, yeah, not be lazy. So, yeah, so I've got my masala tea. I'm gonna take a sip, see how it is. I guess it could be in there a little longer. I just never know. I don't like to make it too strong, you know? Then it gets like, no, I don't really like strong tea, but that's not strong enough yet. Okay. But I am still learning. I think I put enough in there. I just need to kind of figure out how long I need to steep it for, and I don't remember what time. I did that just right before sitting down. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you, and if you're interested in getting some of this tea, you can use my link below and use my code, which is my name, for 2% off. Yeah, and support them. I'll bring it up again in future videos as well, and on my ASMR channel. This is really she's into ASMR and has her own channel. I think it's the ASMR Doctor, or I'll link that below too. And so I'll be drinking it on my ASMR channel. I have not been very active over there, but I wanted to share it here too because it's organic and fair trade and benefits you know, good causes, and I just love products that do all that, you know, that's my thing. So yeah, and I got these tins, it's great. So I like reusable things, so once I finish with these teas, I still have tins and I can put other teas in there. So that's kind of a perfect thing for me, and I wanted to share that. And if you want tea, go ahead. Anyway, we're gonna get started. Sorry about that. Was there anything else I needed to say? Oh, I got this cute little, you can't really see it, it's like this pen stand from 1918. It's very cool. I'll show that to you later when I do some writing. I've been into fountain pens and writing with ink and stamping my wax seals and stuff. Yep, I'm going farther back in time. But let's get started. So sorry about that. Okay. Wednesday, January 1st, 1930. Gosh, it feels like it's been a while. Kind of has. Okay. Once more, the year has passed, bringing me much happiness. As I look back over the 62 years of my life, none has been fraught with more joy and contentment than this one. I have health, wealth, position, and an indulgent husband. But above all, I have God. My trust in Him brightens all the way and makes life beautiful. Youth is beautiful, but pathetic. My youth was overfraught with ambition and striving, and when I had attained my goal, it did not satisfy. It urged me on to do higher and greater things. My early married life was filled with uncertainty and a restless longing. First, the adjustment of wedded life and the harmonizing of two opposite dispositions. The desire for a home of our own and for children. The struggle for more gold and social power, all of which brought on a weakened physical condition and mental irritability. At last, in despair, we throw ourselves at the feet of Christ, who, lovingly and gently, shows us the way to perfect peace and happiness. This day was filled with work and play and rest. Gosh, I really adore the way she writes. Some diaries, it's just little sentences and no really reflection. Sorry about the children screaming outside. They are not mine. And the cats are resting on the bed in their nice new cat bed. Anyway, yeah, that was excellent. Thank you, Adeline. Boy, and it's real true, huh? I wonder how I'll feel looking back at 60 years old. It's definitely like youth is definitely filled with just yearning and striving and trying to get a goal, get somewhere. You have these things in mind, and yeah, sometimes you do learn that it isn't satisfying when you get it, or you never get it and you keep trying. And yeah, it's quite a learning experience, this thing we call life, isn't it? And I'm really glad to have her diary, really. It's so weird. Oh, also, I look like this. I know I should be like 1930s for this, but I saw a picture of Brigitte Bardot in an old newspaper the other day, and I just kind of felt like doing that. See there, fluffy, messy hair. Trying to get better with my poof. Yeah, that's better. Just on the edge of being too much, but okay. Oh, sitting down to tea with Adeline. That's nice. January 2nd. The morning was spent writing letters of advice and admonition. Sorry, I don't know that word. To my wayward nephews, Clyde. Oh, I don't know that mark. Oh well. Which probably says something not so nice. Oh, I'm gonna read it anyway. Clyde and Den and Laurent something comes in for her share of reproval, which was an unpleasant task. But if I can only lead them to see the error of their way. Oh, Adeline. Yeah. This afternoon, Mrs. Mackenzie took me to the Alhambra to see the Fox Follies, which was interesting, beautiful, and restful. Had a sad letter from Pearl Kendall thanking me for my check, also one from Best Piece. So I was trying not to read ones where she's kind of saying things about other people like that. I mean, the error of their ways. Oh my goodness. Oh, Oops. Sorry. that's why I have these. She doesn't do it a lot, but once in a while. I mean, she's being very frank in her diary here, but I don't know. And these people are probably all dead. January 3rd. The only New Year resolution I have made is, I resolve to read a passage of Scripture every day and devote an hour to prayer and meditation. I realize that my soul has its development through grief and sorrow, but God gave me courage to face disappointments and hardships. He is removing my nervousness of spirit, and my soul grows serene and peaceful as the days go by. There are so many things to be done, so many societal demands, that it is hard to find time in the mad rush for meditation. Indeed. In 1930, it was hard to find time. Today, I was longing for a quiet evening by myself when friends called me up and insisted that I come and play bridge, which I consider a harmless diversion, but it is often overdone and other duties are neglected. January 4th, I arose this morning, half resolved to give a dinner party to some friends whose lives are rather drab and whose social activities are rather limited, knowing full well that it would be a great strain on my energies with only one servant to assist me, but work precluded to that end until Johnny drove the car out for a trip to the grocery and found a punctured tire. I called the mechanic, and by the time the tire was repaired and the trip to the market and back was made, it was too late to undertake the preparation of the dinner. So I compromised by inviting Dina and May over to play bridge this evening with Ed and Mr. Dina? Right, Ed and, I don't know. Dina is sad and lonely since Byron died. Bridge is the only diversion Ed has, so I sacrificed the pleasure of a quiet evening with my books for this entertainment and took the afternoon for my indulgence. 1898. I was a candidate for state librarian and was in Frankfurt to attend the caucus. What are we doing on time, Kate? January 5th. There's a little thing cut out here. It says, thought's great power. It is the habitual thought that frames itself into our life. It affects us even more than our intimate social relations do. J.W. Teal. We went to Sabbath school and church. It is a blessed privilege to worship in the house of the Lord. Into the mystery of the nature of Jesus, scholars and saints have gazed with eagerness, but never with finality of assurance. The mystery of his birth and life cannot be solved by finite minds. We must trust to faith. You know, I find it when I'm looking at diaries on eBay, like a good number of them are very religious in what they write, like Christian. I don't write a lot about that in my diary. I don't think I ever did. It was more like personal things. But I don't know, it's odd to me. January 6th. At the beginning of each year, I always feel like checking up on the growth or the deterioration of that intangible but ever real thing we call our individual character. To check carefully the failures we have made and appraise the ways in which we have actually progressed. Have I placed honor and fairness ahead of personal profit in all my social and business dealings? In my church and community life, do I cooperate more and criticize less on those committees where I am supposed to serve and help? Have we read good books and high-class magazines and kept away from the cheap and sensual and grossly material? Are we more thoughtful of others and less concerned about our own ease and comfort? Are we always careful about our personal appearance? Have we advanced in our practice of daily prayer until we feel the nearness of God in all our ways of life? I should take stock at the beginning of every year, maybe even every month. I should write some of this stuff down, just ask myself these questions. Because it is good to just ask yourself, you know, and kind of see your progress, hopefully. Yeah, it's a good idea, Adeline. January 7th, we know for each soul God has a plan of life. with an end and a goal towards which his providence guides our unfolding experience. Each day I try to discern the plan he has outlined for me and to make each day carry me further towards the realization of my goal. I try not to view my life too narrowly, thinking to find the supreme good in immediate circumstances or in present delights and comfort. To know our life is fulfilling its divine destiny gives us power to dispense with many things we care and look for ultimate triumph. Dispense with many things we crave and look for ultimate triumph. She's very, very introspective right now. There's actually nothing there. There's another little clip out. Love of home. The love of home is one of the most sacred of human fabrics, for its weave is made up of every good and beautiful strand that grows out of life's fibers. Chicago Daily News. Nothing. A letter from Dunman Peace in which he seems to appreciate the deep interest I take in him. He said that he had stopped drinking, sent me a Kodak picture of himself. He had just returned from a mechanical school of the Chevrolet in Louisville. 1898. I was in the exciting caucus for state librarian. The other candidates were Miss Leila Calhoun of Davis County, Mrs. James B. Martin of Barron County, Mrs. Sally Taylor Boyd of Hart County, Miss Jenny Owen Cochran of Louisville, Miss Pauline Hardin of Covington, Miss Celeste Lucas of Lexington, Miss Roberta Barnett of Henry County, Miss Margaret Ingalls of Bourbon, and Miss Maddie Crutcher of Franklin County, and I represented Ballard County. In the runoff, there was a tie between Miss Hardin and me, to my great surprise, as I was the last candidate to enter the race, and only then by the solicitation of McD. Ferguson, Jake Corbett, Judge Rivers, and other politicians who wanted someone to trade on. I knew nothing of the duties of the office and had my name withdrawn. Interesting. Tea time. All right, after this one, I have to stop the camera before it stops itself. Sunday the 12th. At Sunday school, I made a talk before the Bible class, showing pictures and describing the pastoral scenes in the life of Christ. I visited the place where he was baptized in the Jordan River and Quarantana, the mountain of temptation, and described these to the class as I saw them. Ed and I took luncheon with Dina and had a most enjoyable afternoon. She is the most interesting woman I ever knew. 35 years ago, 1895, I was a member of a dramatic club comprised of James Lee, George Cothis, Peace, Bert Weaver, Frank Crawford, Harry Wyman, Will Stevens, Emma Crawford, Maud Sublette, and myself. We played the Mountain Waif. I took the part of Meg the Mountain Waif. I loved dramatics, and if I had not been born 40 years too soon, I might have gone Hollywood. Gladys was also crazy about the stage. Okay, 1 second. Hope you enjoyed that commercial break. Monday, the 13th. It is true we never know 1 minute what we will be doing the next. I arose early and was proceeded with my arrangements to entertain the History and Literary Club tomorrow, when Dina called and told me that Mr. Henry Abernathy died last night. He is our close neighbor and friend, and Dina, being president of the club, called off the meeting. This is the second time that the meeting with me has been called off on account of death. Dina and I called the Abernathy home to pay our respects. This afternoon, I wrote letters to Carrie Shaw Worthington and Denman Peace. Think it over. We can better help another by fanning a glimmer of goodness than by censoring his faults. These were erased, and I can't really make them out. The morning it doesn't even seem like it was worth erasing. I don't know why they were erased. I mean, because what I can make out doesn't seem like much. So that's a little weird. I don't understand that. Thursday, the 16th. Again, I am writing to the same ones. Today, I had the happiest and most cheerful letter from Sister Maud that I ever had from her in all my life. It seems that all her children, except Clyde, had remembered her at Christmas, as well as her relatives and friends who had remembered her liberally. She had been invited to several dinings and had won the beauty prize at a church supper, which seemed to be a great joke to her. She had moved into a 10-room home and had rented out several rooms. Her health had been restored. It is evident that varied interests and happy surroundings bring health. She has been unhappily situated for many years. Oh, thank goodness. She's really happy. Yes, varied interests and happy surroundings. Very important. Daily thought. Let every dawn of morning be to you as the beginning of life, and every setting sun be to you as its close. Then let every one of those short lives leave its sure record of some kindly thing done for others, some goodly strength or knowledge gained for yourself. John Ruskin. Friday the 17th. Mrs. Ed Nelson gave birth to a boy baby. I went to a bridge luncheon at Mrs. Mackenzie's. She is certainly an Epicurean artist. Her food is fit for the gods. Oh my goodness. To go to a dinner party. 18th. The mercury was 12 degrees below zero this morning. Coldest weather here since December 10th, 1917. What if she just has like a really good memory? I guess she wouldn't have to keep a diary then. Ed and I slept comfortably in the sleeping porch last night, although a silver mug of water was frozen hard at the side of my bed. January 19th. A happy day with Ed. Ever since we married, Ed has spent more than half the time away from home at his other places of business. At first it irked me. I protested. Then I began to reason that it could not be otherwise, and that my protestations only made it harder for him. Now I read that blank Marors, a French writer, that work is the biggest thing in a man's life, bigger than love, marriage, parenthood, and that no woman can be a good wife to a man until she appreciates and accepts this fact. I believe him and accepted these facts years ago. Yeah, maybe. Another blank one. Tea time. Also, I'm very slow at drinking tea or coffee or anything. There's always something left cold at the bottom of my mug. Tuesday, January 21st. Dina, Mrs. A. Browning, and I went to the H&L Club. We had the short story entitled A Mother Sits by the Fire. I was shocked by their analysis of the story. None would say, but what it was an example of motherhood. They dodged the issue, or else they could not comprehend. By the way, looking back into the past at the women I was associated with in Blandville and Wycliffe, Adele Smith, Sally Wagner, Mrs. Herr, Mrs. Lucy Coffey, Mrs. Jake Corbett, and others, there seemed to be more intelligence there. I had to read that one. I know she's like poking at the women, but you know, it's kind of funny. Also, that story, I meant to find it and read it. It's been so long. I will have to do that. read it and find the meaning, because now I'm curious. Wednesday, the 22nd. Now I'm checking the battery. Like 3 things to look out for. The 20-minute limit, the battery, and the card memory. But at least I don't have to worry about that one anymore. It is wise to watch oneself. Habits sneak upon us before we are aware. Habits both good and bad. Horace Mann says, habit is a cable. We weave a thread of it every day, and at last we cannot break it. Everybody should beware of habits. I have the snuff dipping. Gosh, I wish I knew what she looked like. I want to imagine her in 1930, snuff dipping, with her gun by her side. Thursday, 23rd. How shall I a habit break? Answer, as you did that habit make. As you gathered, you must lose. As you yielded, now refuse. Thread by thread the strands we twist, till they bind us neck and wrist. Thread by thread the patient hand must untwine ere free we stand. As we builded stone by stone, we must toil unhelped alone, till the wall is overthrown. Oh, I did look that up, didn't I, to find the author. I'm not very prepared. January 24th. Have been so absorbed in sorting and arranging my notes and pictures of my trip around the world that I have neglected my diary. I had such a sensible letter from Gladys regarding my building a new home. She looks at the matter in the same light that I do. Yet Ed seems to want to build, and I shall not say nay. But as Gladys says, by the time I get it built, furnished, and my garden made, I will be too worn out to enjoy it. Years later. As I read the above at 71 years old, I find that the building of the house and planting of the garden were too much for me at that time. It brought on flu and nervous prostration, and I have never seen a well day since. Oh my goodness, where are your other diaries? Where are your other diaries? My goodness. Oh. Saturday, January 25th. The Mackenzies spent the evening with us. It seems quite a coincidence that they were with us just 1 year ago. 1897, I finished teaching a 5-month school in the Blandville Seminary. Andrew Nichols, who is now in the limelight of legislation, was one of my pupils. Also Charles Marshall. Sister Maud was my assistant and taught the primary department. January 26th. Ed, Lizzie, Fanny, and Miss Lily left for New York to buy merchandise. I spent the afternoon looking over old letters, scrapbooks, etc. Came across Sister Lon's diary. It was a brief record of prayer, praises, suffering, and rejoicing. Like I said, her loneliness must have been something dreadful, yet she preferred to live by herself. The 27th, Ed is never at home on his birthday. His birthday's the day after mine. Mrs. Mackenzie and I went to see the Hollywood Follies this afternoon and took dinner at the cafe. Had quite a surprise this evening when Mr. Everett Stapp of Henderson called. I had not seen him for about 28 years. I was bridesmaid at the double wedding when he and Mary Rebecca Terrell and Wade Galloway and Lizzie Terrell married at Blandville 36 years ago. Both of their sons are married, and he has their grandchildren. He is my age. Says he never drank, used tobacco, or played cards. He is a fine-looking man and well preserved. Oh, Ed is 63 years old today. That battery is not looking good. January 28th, Dina, Mrs. Woodward, and I went to the H&L Club. I have so many interesting things to do here at home, but there are also interesting calls from without, which makes life a pleasing variety. Shut up. Sorry. I would like some interesting calls from without. to make life a pleasing variety right now. I have so many interesting things also to do at home, but I'm sure you can relate and read my mind. I left preferred interest at home this evening and went out to play bridge. January 29th, this morning, I finished arranging my travel library according to cities and countries and wondered who would be interested in it when I am no more. I would. To me, it is my most valued possession. It contains the pictures, notes, and manuscript of my world tour. Yeah, I would be interested, Adeline. Shoot, I would be so interested. Had a card from Ed stating that they had arrived safely in New York. Had eaten their dinner at Mrs. Riggs' Cafe and were ready to turn in for the night. Maybe I should look up Mrs. Riggs' Cafe. I don't think I did that. But yeah, that one. Ugh. I want to read these things. I am interested. And I can only hope they still exist somewhere and didn't just get destroyed. January 30th. Tonight I went to hear Dr. J. Franklin Babb lecture. His subject was handicap. It was very interesting and illuminating. The gist of it was that without handicaps, we can never develop character. I'm trying to reduce the strength of my morning cup of coffee and my 11 o'clock toddy, as my health is now so good that I do not feel that I need either. Had a jolly letter from Ed, spent the evening playing bridge. Now I wonder how long did letters take to get from one place to another? Like they would write letters while he was away, and how long was he away? She has some notes on this page about people's birthdays. February 1st, got a sweet homesick letter from Ed. How I wish that he did not have to make these long trips to market. Called on Grace Shanklin. I am trying to reduce by taking a walk every afternoon at 4. I drop in for calls, always stopping at Dina's on my return home. Okay, so she might be a little overweight. She drinks coffee and toddy and tobacco thing. So interesting what you can learn about someone. February 2nd, went to Sunday school and church. I find that my social calendar for the week is already full. Monday comes the Missionary Society, Tuesday the History and Literary Club, Wednesday prayer meeting, Thursday garden club, Friday women's club. My domestic calendar is always full, besides a few bridge games and a picture show. I am glad that it is so. At my age, it keeps one interested in life, and from brooding over old age and its accompanying ills and handicaps. Monday the 3rd, attended the missionary meeting. I am getting rather fleshy and have begun my usual physical culture exercises that I have neglected more or less all winter. In looking through my books and papers, I found a package of old letters, one from Eugene Haddocks, written September 20th, 1883. It was the first one he wrote me. Another one written November 14th, 1884, asking me to marry him. Another written to me while I was going to school in Illinois, September 7th, 1884. Eugene, I don't want to get interrupted by a dying battery here. Eugene was refined and cultured, of good family and well-to-do, and was the Apollo of the community, and was the only man that Mother ever wanted me to marry, but I just could not love him. And I think she added this later. Or later? Eugene married Eddie Rutherford while I was county superintendent of Ballard County. She tried to high-hat me. They lived in a lovely home in Kevel while I was working for my bread and butter. Time passed and Eugene met reverses. 2 years ago, my doorbell rang. My maid met the door and told me a lady was waiting for me in the reception hall. It was Eddie, Eugene's wife. She was going from town to town selling knitted dresses. Thus does fortune yank us up and down. Okay, the battery's going to die, so I have to stop. Enjoy another commercial break. All right, we're going to finish it up for today in our last, hopefully, full 20-minute stretch. February 4th, attended the History and Literary Club this afternoon and played bridge this evening. 13 years ago, in 1917, my time was occupied making dresses and bandages at the Red Cross for the World War. My attitude towards life today and then is as much at variance as my occupation is now and at that time. 43 years ago, in 1887, Sister Elizabeth died at Blandville, Kentucky. I recall that the snow was over 2 feet deep. Boy, would I just love to read the rest of her diaries. I'm going to say this so many times, but that's in the way. Wednesday, February 5th. Spent most of the day reading a package of old cards and letters that Lon had received from her friends and relatives. Several of them were from Clyde Peace while he was in Germany. This afternoon, I called on Addie Turk Hobbs and spent the evening. I still don't know if that was a jerk Turk. I'm not sure. Spent the evening playing bridge, not because I wanted to play, but to please my friends. Thursday the 6th, I was overjoyed when the noon mail brought me a card from Ed asking me to meet him at the 5:35 train. How do they know that these letters are going to make it in time? I don't understand. So we spent a quiet evening at home reading and talking. Today I discovered some of my tulips peeking through the ground. Saturday the 8th, I spent this entire day reading a package of old letters that I came across in the drawer of my bookcase. Some were letters that Ed wrote me before we married, some after we were married. Such darling sweetheart letters that it awakened the fires of romance once more. Not that romance has ever died, but the flare grew greater. Love and death are the two great mysteries of life. Sunday the 9th, we attended Sunday school and church, and after lunch we motored to Kentucky. All of the perennials that I set out last fall were living, notwithstanding the fact that they had not been protected from the zero weather, and my tulips were 2 inches high. Spring always bursts forth in my heart when I see my first flower peeking forth from the ground, and I rejoice that I can soon vent my self-expression in my garden of felicity. Oh my goodness, I have to plan my garden. Monday the 10th, spent the day reading and writing. Ed began taking inventory at Barnes and Kaufman's. My life is assuming a fullness for which I have always hoped. Hope is creative. It brings to pass things that are not life's best reality. It brings to pass things that are not. Life's best realities began by being hoped for. Afterwards, they take on form and substance and facts. This is especially true on the higher ranges of living, intellectual, moral, and spiritual. I have been recognized and applauded in the intellectual, moral, and spiritual activities of life. Here it is possible to do almost what we will with our lives. To aspire to be more intelligent and more noble is in some measure to have actually attained. I have not let my soul shrink from its most daring hopes for strength, for wisdom, for character, for immortality. I know now that their reality depended all along upon my hope and faith that I would attain my goal. I hope I'm helping you with the immortality. I wish I had a picture. Wouldn't it be great? Could someone please help me find a picture of Adeline Barnes? Let me know what information you need. Oh, Tuesday, February 11th. Mrs. John Waller and daughter, Mrs. Lacey, spent the morning with me getting information on the Taj Mahal for a paper. I also lent them the photos that I took while there. I love to think of the Taj Mahal. While traveling in foreign lands, one sees many strange things. Some amuse, some amaze, but only occasionally is one impressed deeply enough to leave a permanent picture upon the soul. The Taj is one spot where the dream is never equal to the reality. When I looked upon the Taj, I realized that there was a limit to fancy and imagination, and that the vision I had conjured up in my mind from pictures and reading was not half as fair as that shimmering mystery before me. It was the first all-satisfying object my eyes had ever looked upon. It was not a matter of what I thought as I stood there enthralled, but a matter of what I felt. Its purity and beauty sanctified it, and I felt that I was in the presence of a holy thing. There was a feeling I can never explain. I would love to see the Taj Mahal. But so do a million other people. February 14th, Mrs. Keith came for me, and we went to the Women's Club. We had Mr. Porter, who is head of the Chamber of Commerce, to speak. Also representatives from the Rotary and Crippled Children's Organization. I find great pleasure in the Women's Club, not only its social aspect, but its educational and cultural benefits. Yes, I need culture. I have been snubbed on account of my careless use of the English language. I knew better, but was careless and thoughtless. Proper language should be taught to the child as he begins to talk. It is the hardest thing in the world to break one of improper grammar. With cultured people, one is judged by their English, and I have had many a slight on account of my language. It's funny, you just learn things without really... I love to hear her speak, and I mean, she does misspell some things. Yeah, I just wonder how she... Oh, Adeline, what were you like? February 15th, went to see Dressmaker. Ed and I spent the evening with Mrs. Gaines and Wooldridge playing bridge. Ed was brought up to hard work. Games and sports had no place in his rearing. Dancing was considered an unholy act, a crime in the eyes of the Lord. I don't suppose he ever went hunting or shot a gun in all his life, and when I married him, he could not bait a fish hook or row a boat. Neither did he know how to play cards. Now he seems to be trying to make up for all the fun he lost in cards and fishing. He is so eager when fishing and cards are in the offing. I often feel sorry for him. And what is Ed like? Sunday, February 16th, went to the M.E. Church Sunday School and made a talk before the women's Bible class. Mrs. Hamilton Moore, a missionary from Africa, delivered the morning sermon. In the afternoon, we went with the Mackenzies to Lake Tandy, and this evening we went to hear a, lecture by Mrs. Moon. I wish I had time to comment on the grand lectures and sermons, the many fine programs that we hear. But I usually write in my diary the last thing before retiring, and I am tired in body and mind. Monday, 17th. I helped Johnny in the washing and wrote up some notes on the Taj Mahal. May-O came over for me to go play bridge. I am tired of bridge and wish I could drop out for a while. Had an interesting letter from Mary. She was buying furniture for her living room and dining room, all of which was modernistic. My heart trickles with joy to know that she is happy. She is intelligent and good-looking, not to say pretty, but she has personality and character. Her childhood was spent in unfavorable surroundings, nothing to stimulate ambition. Had she received a college education, she would have taken a high place in the social world. Wednesday, February 19th, my gardeners came and we made our contract for the yard and went over to my lot to have it plowed. I was rejoicing in my heart that at last I was really beginning on the dream of my life, a home and garden of my own. Underlined. The gardener set the grass afire A conflagration was the result. In getting his team out, he broke his leg, and the result was that we had to call the fire department to subdue the fire. I really need to find an article about this. It has to be in there. All activities ceased at once. It seems I am doomed so far as a home of my own is concerned. I wonder if this first start is a symbol of what is to follow. It would be laughable if it were not so tragic. A great conflagration. February 20th, May and Mrs. Oldham went with Johnny and me to Kenjiketi, and I pruned all my fruit trees, roses, and shrubbery. I also planted 9 different kinds of perennial seeds and planted under jars 21 slips of something to root. My orchard at Kenjiketi has an assortment of the best apples, peaches, and pears that can be bought. It has a nice selection of grapes, the red and black raspberry, yes, and rare blackberries and dewberries, also strawberries. I want that. February 21st, read my stories for the H&L Club and wrote a letter to Mrs. Howard, who is gradually dying with cancer. My first jonquils in bloom. 22nd, Ed seems so indifferent about building and does not say when he intends to begin, and uncertainty is worrying me. So I've decided to let the matter drop. He thinks that when he gets ready to build, he will just get an architect and builders and let them do the work. I want a home with character and above all individuality. I want the house and garden to harmonize. I want it to reflect my personality. I want self-expression. God, I can't remember what else she talks about with the house. But maybe now would be a good time to share a picture of the house, because I found a picture of the house. So, this is Adeline's house. Is that weird? Yeah. Bizarre. I mean, bizarre just to find a picture of her house. Found some information on it. It's kind of a historical landmark? Not landmark, but well. Sunday, February 23rd, went to Sunday school and church. Reverend Knoll preached one of the most spiritual sermons I ever heard. I was happy to know such a consecrated man. It is rare that I meet men and women whom I instinctively feel are pure and consecrated. Bishop Woodcock, who resides in Louisville and who often preaches at the Episcopal Church, is another saintly person. Ed and I always go to hear him when he comes here. February 24th, cooked some delicious cheese sticks and uncovered some flowers, planted Madonna lily and the tiger lily seed. February 26th, I helped Johnny do washing, overhauled my dresses, went to the store, got some beige shoes and had a dress fit. Came home utterly exhausted, got 6 bottles of Canjola, and will attempt to get myself in good shape for my spring gardening. I often look back on my life at the Pennyroyal apartment, which I can't find, and wonder how I endured as long as I did. While it was beautiful, with 6 rooms, beautifully furnished, comfortable both winter and summer, it was not of my liking. Ed thought it was ideal for me, as I had nothing to do but dress and go. He bought me lovely dresses and felt that I was secure there while he was away from home. He could not understand that I should want a home of my own that would entail care and work. I was very, very unhappy there. Had I plunged into the social circle around me, it might have been well with me, but I was crude in my social manners and in my language. My life had been spent in schoolwork and struggle. As soon as I realized my shortcomings, I began to overcome them and to add polish to my intellect. Indeed. February 27th, went to the store and purchased, it keeps disconnecting from the camera, and purchased a black spring hat. They took Mrs. Howard to the hospital Spent the day arranging my scrapbook and reading and not feeling well. My scrapbook has been one of my youthful hobbies and still obtains in my old age. Although I have taken up so many more hobbies, I can't devote much time to the scrapbook. February 28th, Johnny's mother died this morning. He left at 10 a.m. I spent the entire day arranging my travel notes, and after dinner I went to Dina's and played bridge until 10 p.m. Came home and sat up and read until Ed arrived from St. Louis at midnight. Some more birthdays listed there at the end of the month. March 3rd. Have not felt well for several days. My eyes trouble me also. I read too much. How I long for the time when I can get into my garden and on the lake. Spent the day mostly studying seed catalogs. Made some cheese sticks and sent a box of them to Mary. March 4th, spent the morning shopping, went to the H&L Club in the afternoon, and from there, Dina and I went to the hospital to see Mrs. Howard, but she was suffering, so they would not admit us to her room. Went into the garden to find that spring had raised her baton, and up comes the daffodils and tulips. My heart was filled with tickles of excitement. Spring is always full of surprises. March 5th, began reading Corinne of Italy by Mad de Stael. Did I look that one up? It will be my second perusal of this interesting book. I read it 41 years ago. I only saw the romance in it then. Now I am reading it for its historical value. Ed came home. Eldred Leach came with him. This afternoon I helped Johnny to remove the mulch from my flower garden. March 6th, Mrs. Keith came by and we went to the garden club. Today I had my lot plowed preparatory to starting my garden. Somehow I have misgivings about ever getting to build. It may be the result of the ardor in my heart to have a home of my own. A most distressing letter from Gladys regarding a rumor at Kevel about people that are dear to me. All my life I have offered vicarious shame. Never have I allowed shame to fall on my own skirts, but I have been hurt and shunned and crucified by the shame of others near to me. Sometimes I have felt, what is the use, but I never gave up and have lived to learn in life's hard school that nothing on earth can hurt us but ourselves. As long as we keep our own skirts clean, we can look the world in the face. Yeah. Oh dear, we have to stop there, I think, because the camera's gonna quit. And it's been pretty long. I'd hoped to get to the end of March, but I talked too much in the beginning, so I didn't. But we'll see. But that's long enough for today. So we've gotten to March 6th. Next time we'll start on March 7th. And yeah, it's been so long. I forget a lot of what she wrote. When did I buy this? Like a year ago? Gosh, yeah, but I love it. I love it. I'm glad I am getting to share it with you. Hope Adeline doesn't mind. She does want the immortality. Maybe we'll have a seance sometime and ask her, huh? I have a friend who might be able to help me with this. Okay, so we'll say goodbye for now, and I'll see you next week. Bye.